Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. Derby day, il derby della mole, Juventus versus Torino. We are playing in our home after winning versus Torino in their stadium. If I have to remind you, it was Locatelli at the 86th minute, his first goal with Juventus. It was a 1-0, a beautiful victory where all the Juventini were thinking another draw. But you know that these games versus Torino, derby, they are most of the time they are sold at the last minute because we always have to think about the fino alla fine spirit, and that will be again another battle. So I hope you are ready, guys. Today remain on the channel till the end because there will be some big names we will have to talk about. Big names about Mercato, I will already spoil you, but Dybala, not speaking about his contract extension but some possible teams on the player. Pogba, apparently there was already an offer from Juventus to Paul Pogba. We'll speak about that, and also some behind the scenes of Gatti, the new player of Juventus. So remain on the channel, put a maximum of like. I want to have a maximum of like today. Subscribe to the channel. We go with the intro and with the video. Starting the derby day, maybe you will ask me, Beppe, what does it mean derby? Because Torino is not that big of a team, so we know derby is when two teams from the same city are playing versus each other, but we are thinking, of course, about some games like Inter versus Milan, Manchester City versus Manchester United, the teams that are playing in London. We know how important it is, we know all these kind of things, but when a big team like Juventus is playing versus a smaller team, with all the respect like Torino, are the things changing? Well, kind of, I have to admit. For me, and probably for a lot of you on the channel that are watching from around the world, probably Juventus Torino doesn't have the same atmosphere of derby because we are living far away, because Torino is not that big of a team. But I can guarantee you, for the people that are living in Torino, in Turin, in the city, it is a big game that all the people there, they are feeling. There is something in the air, a big battle between the two teams, because supporters, they don't like themselves. We know that Torino is always saying most of the people that are living in Turin are Torino supporters, so Juventus is there under pressure. Why Juventus is actually known more around the world to have more supporters. We know that Torino, historically, it was a big team some years ago, a lot of years ago, so they are really wanted to fight, and they fight for that game more than for the Scudetto, because they probably don't have the chance to go for the Scudetto. So yes, it is a big game. How do I feel about that game? I feel a bit annoyed, because on top of playing all the big teams, Milan, Inter, Roma, Lazio, Napoli, Fiorentina, and so on top of that we have a derby that is versus a small team. Milan, for example, doesn't have a small team to play a derby with, and we know that when it is a derby, they will give everything until the end. We remember these last minutes goals: Higuain, Pirlo, Bonucci, Quadrado, and Locatelli. So pay attention for that game. It will be a big battle. Now that I introduced the derby, guys, we go to some beautiful news. Soon we will go to 100% of stadium capacity in Italy as well. I was watching a lot of games around Europe with a lot of people, and it's really beautiful to see them cheering. So we should go really soon in Italy as well. Today the stadium will be sold out, but with a max capacity of 50%. So guys, Corriere dello Sport is speaking about yesterday the European scores of the Italian teams. Atalanta won 2-1 versus Olympiacos in their home, when they were actually led by Olympiacos 1-0, and then Gym City scoring 2 goals. Napoli 1-1 versus Barcelona. They were leading with 1-0, and then a goal with a penalty. I have to admit that if they were losing, nothing to say, guys, nothing to say about that in El Camp Nou. And then Porto winning over Lazio 2-1. These are the scores of the other teams. Derby Gigante, the giant derby for Tuttosport. We know that Tuttosport is a paper based in Turin, so we know that they are putting a special attention on that game. That is really important. So big page of the players of Juventus and Torino. We see Vlahovic, we see Ligt, the giants that yesterday in training I showed you the video and the images that they were speaking with each other. There will be 2 starters without doubt, guys. And then you see Bremer, a player that is also in the focus Juventus wants to go for Bremer for next year. Will they succeed or not? We will speak about Mercato in a few seconds. And then Belotti. Un derby come si deve. Finally a derby as it should be. Why? Because Allegri spoke really well about Juric yesterday in press conference, saying that Juric is a coach that finally for Torino brought back the DNA, that fighting spirit of Torino that was a bit gone with the last years. Torino that was batting a lot of times for relegation zone. They didn't have that grinta anymore. Juric, a coach that did really well with Verona. He is a perfect match for Torino. These were the words of Allegri, speaking really well about Torino, saying that it will be a battle, but he's really proud about Juventus. Juventus that finally, after 6 or 7 months together, finally is a team. He said something really important yesterday. He said in the past we were a team that were thinking maybe a bit more about individualities. We were thinking about own interest, speaking about contracts, speaking about records, speaking about all the kind of things. So speaking really individually, and now we are thinking about the team. We are putting the team up front, and this is something that I wanted to see as soon as possible. Of course, it needed also some time because the players needed to understand me. I needed to understand the players, but finally we are there. The team in front of everyone. Grande. That's what I want to see from Juventus, sacrificing for the shirt, from the logo, for everything. La sfida dei giganti, I told you, the battle of the giants. Today, after Vlahovic versus Demiral, we will see Vlahovic versus Bremer. Not only that, because there will also be Belotti versus Ligt. There will not be Bonucci. Bonucci injured, unfortunately, starting to getting old. It's not the first time this season, so it will be Rugani and Ligt in the middle of the defense with Ligt on Belotti. Why Vlahovic is also there on the paper? Because Vlahovic, when he was playing with Fiorentina, the young team, the youth team, he scored in one season 6 goals. With the big team, with the first team, he scored only 1 goal, and it was in the beginning of this season versus Torino. It will be the 3rd time Vlahovic will face Torino this season. He didn't score the last game where Fiorentina lost 4-0 versus Torino. So let's see if he will be able to score again, and maybe his 2nd goal versus Torino, the first one versus Torino in a derby with the Juventus shirt. There is a doubt in the lineups because they are going with Szczesny in the goal, Alexandro on the left, Quadrado on the right, Rugani and Ligt as a 4-man defense. In the middle it should be Arthur in the middle, next to him Zakaria and Rabiot, and then up front we'll see Dybala, Morata and Vlahovic. There is one doubt: Morata could rest, and we can see Ken Moise Ken. That was also my prediction 2 days ago, that I think that Ken will start the game. Let's see if it will happen or not. Guys, I told you, remain with me on the channel because we have big news about Mercato, guys, and we will start immediately. Don't forget, first you put a maximum of like. We go. Gazzetta dello Sport, l'Inter rifà le punte. Inter is doing again their offensive lineup. Why? Because after the game versus Liverpool, they understood that maybe Dzeko and Lautaro Martinez were not enough, and they need to be a bit more precise. They need to go a bit more on target and being a bit more clinical to go and score some goals. Why are we speaking about Inter? Because in the Gazzetta dello Sport front page we see some players there, and one is really important. In the back we see Paulo Dybala. So what's their problem with Dybala? Actually, we see here Giovanni Capuano is saying what the Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting. L'Inter will do again their offensive lineup in next season. There is Scamacca, of course, but not only him. Lautaro Martinez could leave next season, also Alexis Sanchez, and they are waiting for Dybala. They are observing what's happening between Dybala and Juventus. Inter is really there on Dybala, so pay attention, guys. Will he go to Inter? I don't believe so, but it's true that at the moment none of the players, Quadrado, Ligt, Quadrado, De Sciglio, Perin and Dybala and Bernardeschi, none of them, I'm sorry, of the 5 players, none of them, they renewed their contract and they can speak with whoever they want. And not only Inter is on Dybala, but also Tottenham Hotspurs, that is actually looking for Dybala after Kulusevski, after Bentancur, they are on the player as well. Do I believe that Tottenham will go for him? I don't believe so. I don't know if Dybala wants to go to UK. That's one reason. I don't know if Paratici wants to have the player, if we know that they didn't have a really great relationship at Juventus when they were both together. So let's see. And now the Bomba. The Pogba. Apparently, Juventus made an offer for Pogba last Tuesday, so 2 days ago, 3 days ago, they made an offer for Pogba, 7.5 million net a season plus 2.5 of bonuses, split between collective bonuses and individual bonuses if he reached these targets, with a contract of 3 years with a maximum of +1 year on the bonus. Let's see what will happen there. Will Pogba finally say yes or no? He will have to lower his salary. That's the offer of Juventus. Juventus wants to negotiate for Pogba and doesn't want to leave the table before Pogba decides where to go. Apparently there is another team on Paul Pogba. It is Paris Saint-Germain, but it will be probably a battle between Paris Saint-Germain and Juventus. Let's see what will happen there, but the offer has been made according to the rumors. Is it true or not? We don't know. Flashback on Rovella? Yes, a flashback on Rovella and behind the scenes. There are 2 news today. If you're still there on the video, you will know. If you left, you will never know that. So Rovella, apparently Juventus really wanted to have him in January. They wanted to go for Rovella to take him and let him grow with Juventus. Apparently Genoa didn't want to. They said no, because we are battling for relegation and we need him because he's a really important player for us. So he will come at Juventus next season, 22-23, and he will be an important player for Juventus because Juventus wants to go for that Italian young Juve, pairing him also with Locatelli. Let's see if he will play a lot of game next season with Juventus, starting on the bench, or if he will start to be towards the end of the season, maybe a starter. Let's see about Rovella, but guys, I tell you, Juventus is on Rovella, so don't panic, he will come. And then what about Gatti, the defender that we bought from Serie B? He was on the phone with Juric, the trainer of Torino. He was about to go to Torino, everyone knows that, and while he was on the phone, they told him about Juventus, and he made the choice. Juventus. His grandfather is a Torino supporter. The grandfather, when he understood that Gatti signed with Juventus, he opened the doors, he gave him a big hug. He was crying because he was super happy for his grandson. Grande. These were the backstage news, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, maximum of likes, subscribe to the channel, the usual thing that you have to do. Prepare yourself for the derby because it will be a battle. Don't expect a 4-5-6-7-0. Expect a big game, a game that will be battled again. I'm expecting again a 1-0 for Juventus. This is my prediction. Grazie, forza, Juve.